I'm Dr. Anthea Todd, and this is What's My Body Telling Me? If you've ever felt like something's off, but your tests say you're fine, or you keep ending up in the same patterns with no clear reason, you're not broken. You're just not listening in a way your body needs. Here, we do things differently. I'll show you how to tune into your body, not your bias, and understand your symptoms to reconnect to the health that actually feels good for you and your life. Because your body isn't the problem, it's the solution. And your journey starts by asking one question: what is my body telling me? Ready to listen differently? Let's begin. Hello and welcome to the very first episode of What's My Body Telling Me? I'm your host, Dr. Anthea Todd, and I'm going to be with you along the journey every single step of the way in every episode. And I got to let you in on a little secret. I actually didn't want to start a podcast. I had so many people tell me, you should start a podcast. Why don't you start a podcast? You'd be great on a podcast. And I thought, I just want to be a guest on other people's podcasts. But then I found myself trying to get across different information to you in really simple ways, and just 90 seconds on Instagram wasn't cutting it. I couldn't give you the information and the depth in simple and fun ways how I wanted to. So I decided I was going to make a podcast, but I wanted to make a podcast that's different. It's different because it's not necessarily filled with all of these different research articles and statistics and data that can be really helpful to know, but it can sometimes feel like we need a PhD to understand it. And it sometimes doesn't make sense for the context of our life. And what makes sense for our life is when we can make decisions based on what our body is telling us. Because the world is only speeding up. And I don't know about you, but my algorithm, my podcast feed, everything feels like there's more and more and more and more information that's being added. And the last thing I wanted to do was add more information to your feed. So the purpose of this podcast is to cut through the noise, to use my knowledge and expertise to make it so simple and even maybe a little bit fun to understand what your body is trying to tell you so that you can use your body and your symptoms to guide the way. It's not about knowing the latest research articles. It's not about doing the latest biohack or fad. It's about understanding what your body actually needs and what it's actually trying to tell you. So if you're new here, you may not know, but I have written a book called What's My Body Telling Me? And it became a bestseller, which was a shock to me, but a very pleasant shock. And what I found is that people are starting to say, instead of, oh my gosh, like, why is my body doing this? They're telling me that they're pausing and saying, what is my body actually trying to tell me with this? And this is one of the best things that I could have imagined that's come from this. And this is what I want to extend into this podcast. That moment of pause where you don't assume that your body's out to get you when you have symptoms. You actually know that these symptoms are your body's way of trying to communicate to you. And what it's trying to communicate to you is that it doesn't have what it needs. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, well, duh. Or you might be thinking, oh my gosh, really? Is that what it is? But either way, we might be thinking, okay, well, what does my body actually need? And this is the journey that I went on for the majority of my life, to be honest, but particularly in my mid-20s to 30s, I found that I was experiencing fatigue, weight gain. I had hair growth in areas I didn't want it. I had hormonal acne, hair clumps falling out in the shower, and I just didn't feel like myself. I didn't feel energized when I woke up, and I felt like the things that gave me energy were my to-do list, or I really needed something in my life to look forward to help me get out of bed in the morning. And you might be listening to this thinking, yeah, wow, that sounds exactly like me. And you may have done exactly what I did. And I went to the doctor, I did all the tests, and they said that there was nothing wrong. So I thought, well, thankfully, the household that I grew up in, I know that my body is always looking out for me, and my symptoms are actually trying to tell me something. So instead of thinking, this doctor doesn't know what they're talking about, or instead of thinking, oh my gosh, this is just how I have to feel, I thought, well, my body is clearly struggling in some way. I have to figure out what that is. So enter the wellness space. And the wellness space is a beautiful one, but also can be confusing as fuck. And excuse my French, but I should probably give you a warning. There is going to be swearing in this podcast. That is just who I am. And that is how I felt. And you have probably felt like it too. What the fuck is going on with myself? What is going on with my body? Why do I feel like this? Why is it so confusing? Why is everyone seeming like they're struggling with this? And that's exactly how I felt. Because I found myself going down the route of, well, maybe I need Chinese medicine or acupuncture or a naturopath or different herbs, or maybe I need different skincare regime, or maybe I need to cut out alcohol, dairy, gluten, all the fun things that felt like out of my life. Maybe I need to meditate, put my legs up a wall, do ice baths, go do saunas. What is the thing that I'm missing? There must be something. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a breathwork certification. I'm going to get my master's degree in women's health medicine and reproductive medicine, in functional medicine. I'm going to study energetic practices so that I can help more people. But also, really, I wanted to help myself. And along the journey, I have learned so much, and I have met some incredible practitioners in their fields. And what I've learned is that looking after your body doesn't actually have to be that complicated. It really doesn't. And from all of my knowledge, what I've realized is it comes back to 4 fundamental things. And that's what I want to talk about in today's first episode. Because this episode you can come back to at any time. And I want to start with this because you might be someone that is struggling with an autoimmune condition, or you might be struggling with something that hasn't shown up on a blood test, but you still feel like there's something going on. Like you have persistent fatigue, but your iron levels, your thyroid, your adrenal glands, or your hormones are fine. And just like, I don't know why I feel like this, and no one can give me answers. Or maybe you've got poor sleep, or your gut is playing up, and all of those lovely scopes and all of the laxatives and bowel clear outs haven't found anything. You're thinking, why is this? And now I have to cut out all of these different foods and go on FODMAP diets and try all of these different things. And it feels like my body is just inherently broken. I feel fragile and I have to change and alter my life. And sometimes it can feel really disheartening because there's other people in your life that seemingly just live their life. They don't have to cut out all these things. They don't have to have handfuls of supplements every morning. They don't have to tape their mouth at night. They don't have to put their legs up a wall. They just live their life and seemingly everything is fine. So how do we actually know how to look after our body? And is it our hormones? Is it our gut? Is it our immune system? Well, I want to let you in on a little secret, something that actually makes it really simple and also a little fun. But, I find it fun because I'm a little bit of a geek when it comes to the body. So our body is made up of all of our different organs. We have our brain, our skin, our tongue, our heart, our gut, our liver, our small intestine, large intestine, stomach, pancreas, arms, legs, muscles, bones. We have all of these different organs in our body. And what makes up our organs are cells. So sometimes when you feel like you are lost in this space between, where no one's been able to give you answers and you feel like you're struggling with symptoms, you're wondering, what the hell is my body trying to tell me with this? And you're scrolling endlessly, or you're thinking, I can't even be bothered now. I'm just going to just ignore it and hopefully everything's fine. Or maybe I'm going to book an overseas flight and go on holidays and tell everyone to go screw themselves and that's what's going to fix me. Maybe you're in this space, or maybe you've been told that you need medication and it's not necessarily to keep you alive, like say, for instance, insulin for a type 1 diabetic, but it's that you've been destined to a thyroid medication for the rest of your life, but they can't actually tell you what's causing it or why your body is inflamed around the thyroid. They just say, well, this is what it is and this is what you have to put up with. And you're thinking, but isn't my body trying to tell me something with this? Isn't there something else I can do? Why do I have to always be doing this? And this is exactly where I put together the fundamentals framework. And this takes into consideration all of my learning, both from textbooks and also my own life learning for my own health and the health of the patients that I have seen. And it incorporates a medical, a functional, and an energetic approach to what your body is trying to tell you. And this is what I mean by we use our body, not our bias, to make decisions with our health. Because all types of healthcare are important. We just have to figure out what type of healthcare our body needs at that time. And we use our body to decide, not our bias. Okay, let's take a quick body break. Notice if you're still with your body or if your mind sprinted 10 steps ahead. Trust me, I've been there too. And it's okay. It does that. Let's just call it back. Take one slow breath and land your attention down into your feet. You're not behind. You're not too much. You're just here. And here is perfect. Now, you might know, or you might be someone that is like, I don't take any medication. You might be someone that's like, I never want to take antibiotics, and you've had pneumonia or a chest infection for months and months and months. And really what you need is have antibiotics, get over that, and then heal your body. But maybe you're someone that once you get a headache, you reach for a Panadol straight away, or you go straight to medication and you go, I've had multiple rounds of antibiotics. And I just have multiple every year, but we're not actually addressing what your body needs. So this is where we need to think about medical, functional, energetic. And you might be someone that's way into the energetic space and thinking, well, the reason for this health ailment is because it's on the right side of my body, and this is a masculine wounding side of my body, and it's my right shoulder and arm, so this is to do with giving. So this is where we're talking about energetics and the real, what some people might think as woo-woo and other people might think as, yeah, that makes complete sense. So what we want to do in this podcast is combine it all, because your body holds all the wisdom. We just have to listen to it differently. So when we come back to these cells that I alluded to before, so our brain, heart, kidneys, lungs, liver, gut, all of these parts of our body are made of cells. And sometimes when we have different symptoms, we can chase things down rabbit holes. We might be going, okay, well, it's hormones, or it's my immune system, or it's my nervous system, or it's my blood sugars. And really, what we need to do is go, okay, what do my cells need? And from my own learning and also experience with my own health and other patients' health, what I've found is it comes back to these 4 fundamentals, which is your nervous system, metabolism, nutrients, and blood sugars. And this is what we look at when we're thinking about the functional lens of your health. So the functional lens of our health is what we do, what is really important when we find ourselves in that space between. We're not bad enough to need medication and surgery, which is what we look at when we're using the medical lens. And we also don't feel amazing and alive. We're sort of in that bit of like, I have all these symptoms, but I'm not dying. And that isn't any way to live. Real wellness is feeling alive in your body. And that's so rare these days, because I don't know about you, the last time that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling myself and this is great, everyone's thinking, is she on drugs, or has she had like 5 coffees this morning? It's like, no, it's just the energy is coming from within and the health is coming from within. This is a natural, healthy state of your body. And this is the baseline for everyone. And it is achievable. So when we come back to these fundamentals, it's your nervous system, metabolism, nutrients, and blood sugars. When your cells have those, when we balance them, our cells have what they need. And when our cells have what they need, our organs operate well. Our brain can communicate clearly to our ovaries, to our pancreas, to our stomach, to our liver, to our pancreas, to our skin, to our hair. All of these parts of our body are working well because the cells have what they need. And this inherently comes back to the belief and the trust that the body knows what to do. We just have to move out of its way. So, which fundamental is more important than the other? Trick question. They're not. They are all equally as important. And what you'll find is that this information might not be new to you and it's not sexy. Coming back to the fundamentals, it's like, oh, but like, can't it be some random new supplement or injection and then this thing's the thing that's what I needed and that's going to fix everything. Unfortunately, that is not how the body works. There are so many different interconnected pathways that operate the body. And we know this because what happens when you take a medication? There's a whole list of side effects that come from a medication because no one thing can impact just one part of our body. And that goes for the same thing in our life. If we change something in our lifestyle or in our habits, that's not just going to change one part of our health, that changes a whole plethora of things. It's like when people talk about the benefits of exercise. We could talk about the benefits of exercise in terms of BDNF alpha, a brain chemical to help decrease inflammation, increases cognitive clarity. We could talk about it in terms of, oh, it's building muscles, so that's helping with blood sugars. We can talk about it in terms of it's triggering movement and using endorphins to help us feel better. There's so many different benefits for different things that we're doing. So when you come across different health trends or biohacks, what you'll find and what you'll continue to find as these podcasts go on is that they are all in some way trying to support one or several of these fundamentals. But the key is knowing what your fundamentals need and being able to tune into your body and go, did I actually support my fundamentals today? Did I do that? And if I didn't, and you didn't do it for numerous consecutive days in a row, your body's going to tell you through symptoms because your symptoms mean your body doesn't have what it needs. And what it needs are your 4 fundamentals. So it's your nervous system, metabolism, nutrients, and blood sugars. So let's get into them for the rest of the episode. So our nervous system. I want you to think of your nervous system like the driver of your car. And your car is the cell. Remember, all we're doing is going, okay, I want to give my cells what they need. And when those cells have what they need, watch out. My ovaries work well. My uterus works well. My liver does. My pancreas does. My brain does. Every aspect of your body works well because the cells have what they need. So your nervous system is like the driver of the car, and your nervous system is responsible for knowing what's going on inside and what's going outside. What's going on outside, sorry. So when you're driving a car, imagine there's someone screaming in the back of the car. It's a bit harder to sort of concentrate. It's the same thing. When something internally is going on inside the body, you can feel rattled on the outside. Vice versa, if there's a lot of heavy rain, you have to slow down. You have to change what's going on inside. So that can look like it's hot outside. Your body, your nervous system detects that. So it makes you sweat to make sure that your body temperature is within fine parameters. Or it might be that there's a loud bang and your body jumps and startles and looks to that side because your nervous system is trying to protect you. So there are 2 main parts of your nervous system. There's the part that's conscious, which is like I'm telling my arm right now to pick up a glass of water. And there's also the unconscious part or the autonomic part, which is all about the automatic stuff that we don't have any conscious control of. So where you right now listening to this, you're not telling your heart to beat. You're not telling your stomach to digest the food that you've just eaten or secrete stomach acids and enzymes. You're not telling your pancreas to release insulin at what time. You're not telling your bladder to hold on. Well, sometimes we might be. But see, these things are the things that are automatically happening, and we trust our body to do it. There's trillions of reactions happening every second, and we don't even know about it. That is how miraculous the body is. So when we think about this automatic part of our nervous system, I want you to think of it like a traffic light. So we have green lights, orange lights, and red lights. And you might have heard of some of these. So the technical term for the green light is your ventral vagal nervous system, or a branch of your parasympathetic nervous system. But I just want you to think of it as a green light. So I want you to think you're driving your car and you are driving 2.5 hours and you want to get to the destination. And at the destination, you're going shopping and you have a cashed up wallet and you get a park perfectly and there's no chaos. And every single light that you hit on that journey was green. How do you feel when you get to the destination? You probably feel really calm. You probably feel excited, playful, pleasure. So these are all signs that you're in that green light part of your nervous system. So we can think about calm, curious, playful, pleasure, creativity. Those are all signs that we're in the green. Then sometimes we go into an orange light of our nervous system. And the orange light is what we call the sympathetic nervous system, or fight flight. So I want you to think you're on that same car trip journey to go shopping, but you don't have as much money in your wallet. And every single light that you hit is orange. And when you get there, there's cars everywhere and it's mayhem. How do you feel? A bit tense, a bit tight, a bit irritated, anxious, fearful, angry? Notice how your body would feel when you did that. That's exactly what happens when our sympathetic nervous system is triggered. And then we can go into a red light. And red light is our dorsal vagal branch of the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is where we can shut down, freeze, fawn. And this is where it feels like on that same journey, you might be thinking, I don't actually have much cash at all to be spending here. And every light I hit is red. So I feel like I'm just like stopping and stopping and stopping. And I don't know about you, but when I drive my car, I absolutely love to listen to music loudly. But when I come up to a red light, I often turn it down a bit because I'm thinking, I don't want necessarily everyone else around me to be looking, stopping and staring. So this is where we can have that fawn response. And this can look like in real life where we change our desires, our wants, our needs, our behaviors to be able to accommodate everyone else around us, to make sure that we are safe by making sure our environment is safe. So we can fawn, but we can also sometimes freeze and disassociate. So this is where sometimes when you are at a red light and you're at the front of the red light, you zone out. You don't even realize that it's gone green until someone toots you from behind. This can sometimes look like you're going through the motions of your life. So red lights and green lights, we can sometimes get a bit like, am I in a green light? Am I calm? Or am I just like really exhausted, burnt out and disassociated? And this is just what I have to do. So sometimes when we're at a red light, this can sort of look like throughout the day, you're rushing, you're moving from one thing to another thing to another thing. And at the end of the day, you've got the kids in bed or you finish your day of work and you're like, okay, I just want to like scroll on my phone or watch TV, have a glass of wine because we need to calm our nervous system down. But what we're doing is we're trying to disassociate and go into a red. And this is where we're not actually going into the green light, which is the healing. It's the nice rest, digest, repair part of our nervous system. So this is the importance of your nervous system. When we're in a green light, we feel calm, curious, playful, pleasure. We have time and spaciousness. Think about if you had pressure to be creative. Time pressure when you're trying to be creative just doesn't work. We need spaciousness. Same with when we want to play. And play is just doing things just for the sake of it, just for the enjoyment of actually doing the thing. If there's time pressure on that, it doesn't feel as enjoyable. So time pressure often comes and can induce an orange light. So if you're someone that is running around thinking, I just don't have enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough resources, how am I going to get everything done? I'm running off a to-do list, or I need to make sure I put my meditation in, but the whole time, that 20 minutes I'm meditating, I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, do I have enough time to get the kids to school? Or what about that washing? Or I need to clean the house? Or what did that person say to me 15 years ago and I still have this grudge against them? Notice how our nervous system can still be in that orange light. And then the red light is where we feel disassociated, numbed out. We can feel quite heavy in our body, hopeless. So that is our nervous system. You know your body better than anyone. So why do your test results say everything's normal when you don't feel normal? Fatigue, bloating, period pain, mood swings, anxiety, these aren't random. Your body isn't broken, and these symptoms aren't just something you have to live with. They're signals that something deeper is going on. That's where Test Your Fundamentals comes in. Using a hair tissue mineral analysis, or HTMA, this test gives you a 3-month report card of how your body's been functioning, internally and externally. It shows you exactly what's happening beneath the surface. so you can stop guessing and start listening to your body in a different way. Unlike standard blood tests, HDMA reveals nutrient imbalances, heavy metal exposure, and deficiencies that could be impacting your energy, hormones, metabolism, and mental clarity. It doesn't just tell you what's happening, it tells you why. With Test Your Fundamentals, you'll get a personalized HDMA test, an easy to understand breakdown of your results, access to practitioner quality supplements tailored to your body's needs, and lifestyle recommendations to support all 4 of your fundamentals, so you can take action that actually makes a difference. If you've been told that everything looks fine, but you know something isn't right, it's time to dig deeper. Visit femalefundamentals.com.au to order your Test Your Fundamentals hair test today. There's also a link in the show notes. It's not what's wrong with me, it's what's my body trying to tell me. Now, the next fundamental is our metabolism. And our metabolism is like the engine of a car. A lot of people think of metabolism as, well, if you got a fast one, you're lucky and you can eat whatever you want. If you got a slow one, you're unlucky. And that's just what it is. It's genetic. But I want you to think of metabolism as the ability for your cells to generate energy. So thinking of it like the engine of a car, if you got into a car and you putted around the block, and you got out, you touched the engine, you could probably touch it. It wouldn't be that hot. But if you got in your car and you raced around and you were driving for hours, the engine would get really hot. So this is exactly what can happen in our cells. So when our metabolism is going really fast, we get hot. So pay attention to your body temperature. If you're someone that always runs quite hot, it's probably a chance that your nervous system is heightened, because when your nervous system is heightened, our metabolism speeds up. So if you find that you're someone that's always rushing around, like you don't have enough time, our nervous system can go heightened and our metabolism can speed up, because it's thinking, I need to keep up with the demands of life. So I need to speed up the energy that I produce. The issue comes when sometimes we're always going and we don't stop. So we're driving at 1,000,000 miles an hour and we don't stop in to refuel or just rest. Or we don't think that we can rest, that we've always got this time pressure. Or we feel actually physically unsafe in our environment and we're in that orange light. What can happen is our nervous system speeds up our metabolism and then we're just chewing through all of our resources. We don't refuel, we don't resource. So then our metabolism has to slow down. And when that happens, you will notice that you are the person that always feels cold. So if you have cold hands, cold feet, might have difficulty regulating your body temperature, or you also might notice that you have issues with your weight as well. So you might also notice that your bowel motions are slow. Your hair is slow growing. You feel brain foggy. You feel exhausted when you wake up. You don't have an appetite. All of these signs can be things of a slowed metabolism. So this metabolism is actually flexible, and what we want, the goal is to have a flexible metabolism. And our nervous system impacts that directly. So if we're heightened, like we might all know someone or might have experienced ourselves where we have been through an acutely stressful situation and it might last for, say, a month or so, and we might lose weight. We might speed up things. We might not be sleeping as well. We might be sort of running hot, feeling like we're shutting down. And then if we stay in that longer, or if we know someone that's been in longer term stress where they're like, oh, their business is struggling for, say, 5, 6, 7 years, or they're going through a bankruptcy or a divorce, or there's been a death in the family, something that's more of a prolonged thing, we can see that they might gain weight, but then haven't necessarily changed anything in their diet, in what they're eating, or anything like that. This can be a sign that the metabolism has slowed and the way that the cells actually utilize energy isn't as efficient. Much like if we have 2 cars with the same size tank. So we have a 60-litre tank in both cars, but the engines are different. We might have a Ferrari on one side and then a Toyota Corolla on the other. The Ferrari is probably going to chew through the fuel a lot quicker than the Toyota Corolla. So the Toyota Corolla can actually go further. So this is where it's about the engine, and the efficiency of the engine can actually control, oh, wow, it wasn't actually what I was eating or how much I was putting in or out. It was also to do with how well my cells were actually generating energy. And that's what comes back to our metabolism. So metabolism isn't only to do with weight by any means, it's to do with how well our body can utilize and generate energy. One of the clearest signs of that is our body temperature. The next fundamental is our nutrients. And our nutrients, I want you to think of like the fuel of your car. So we need to make sure we're putting great fuel into our car. It's the right type of fuel. Like if you put tomato juice into a car engine, probably wouldn't work very well. But if we drank petrol, also not great. So this is where we look at, okay, am I eating ultra processed foods? Am I having high amounts of alcohol, drugs? Am I exposed to chemicals, sprays, cosmetics, all these things that are unnatural for our body and put a lot of load and demand on it? And then also we're looking at, well, can my body actually absorb this? So what is my gut function like? Then can it utilize it? Because much like a car, our body needs other things to help it actually utilize the foods that we're having. So in a car, we need, yes, fuel, but we also need radiator fluid and oil to be able to help the car actually work. So this can be a common symptom, say, of persistent iron deficiency. We might be someone that has iron infusions or takes iron tablets, and then we feel better, and then it just comes back again and it comes back again. But really, possibly what we need to look at is the other nutrients that we need to help our body utilize it. Or maybe it's that we can't absorb it via our gut. Well, sometimes the final part of this is looking at excretion. So with a car, yes, we need to go, are we having the right nutrients in? Can we absorb it? Can we utilize it? And then can we excrete it? So all of these facets are impacted, yes, by what we're eating in nutrients directly, but also what's happening with our other fundamentals. If our nervous system is heightened and when we're in that orange light, our body's like, we don't need to be eating anything. We need to be running or fighting, or there's urgency. Like think about when you're really having a busy day at work. Sometimes you just forget to eat because your gut and your appetite is decreased because your body doesn't think that that's important. It thinks it needs to be doing something else. So if that's happening on a minute level over a long period of time, what can happen? Well, our stomach acids and enzymes can decrease. Our gut motility can decrease. Our body's prevalence for what it thinks is important, it doesn't put it towards the gut and digesting and resting and repairing. It puts it towards staying alive. So this is where our gut absorption can be affected and our nutrients can be affected not necessarily by what we're eating, but by what our nervous system is doing, or sometimes what our metabolism is doing. And then finally, the final fundamental is our blood sugars. And I want you to think of your car, like this cell, as a hybrid. So in a hybrid car, we have the battery that we can use, and we also have the fuel in the fuel lines. It's the same thing in our body. So our body is really smart and it has a couple of different energy systems. And I want you to think of the main one as your blood sugars or your blood glucose. And that's readily available for it to use quickly. And then we also have our ketosis, so burning ketones. And when we're burning ketones are like what's in the exhaust of a car when we're burning fats as fuel. So fats as fuel we can use from fats from our diet, or it can be from burning our own fat from our own body. So that's what we have. There's two main fuel modes. And this is what happens with our blood sugar. So we're either using our sugar in our blood or we're going and swapping to ketones. So we're burning fat from our diet or fat from our body. And the key is that we want to be able to switch between them. But when we can't switch between them, it means that our metabolism isn't very flexible. And that can underpin pretty much every chronic disease and illness. So when we have autoimmune diseases, cancers, dementia, Alzheimer's, gut issues, prolonged chronic conditions often are underpinned by our metabolism not being flexible and our blood sugars being inflamed, as well as having a dysregulated nervous system and not having the nutrients that our body needs to be able to operate, because it all comes back to our cells. So throughout this podcast, we are going to be giving you so much information about all of these different fundamentals, but I just wanted to let you know that all of them are equally as important and they all play a role. So when one is out of effect, the other ones have to compensate and try and balance. So there's some core things that can help when we're thinking about these fundamentals. And we're going to do an episode on a symptom decoder, which can be really helpful for you to run through when you're noticing that your body is telling you something and you don't really quite know what type of help you need. Is it medical help that you need? Is it functional? Is it energetic? What the hell is your body trying to tell you? So I want you to remember that these fundamentals are the cornerstone of your functional health. So instead of chasing things down rabbit holes, once we've been told by our doctor that there's nothing wrong, there's nothing that we need medication or surgery for, that's great. It can be really frustrating because we feel like, well, there's definitely something going on. But then we find ourselves in this space between where it can be overwhelming. We get overcome by this wellness information. But all I want you to do is remember to come back to these fundamentals and know that this is what we need to support. And you can support it in a way that feels right for you. This might change from day to day, but at its core, typically it's the same thing. So with our nervous system, we're thinking, okay, have I had enough time in the day today to have a sense of pleasure and play? Or have I been rushing and there's no spaciousness? Well, we should probably start with that. If we're thinking about metabolism, have I been outside in the sunshine and moved my body intentionally? That is going to support your metabolism. And we're going to get into all of these fundamentals individually in more detail, but these are just some quick, easy things to remember. With our nutrients, have I gotten enough electrolytes today? Oftentimes when we're feeling hungry or tired, we actually just don't have enough electrolytes. So focusing on that. And then finally, with our blood sugars, have I gotten enough fats and proteins in my diet today? And if you are curious about what each of these fundamentals are doing or where you stand with all of them, I would highly recommend doing a Test Your Fundamentals hair tissue test. This is one of the best things that I've found for myself and also people that I've worked with. And it can be really enlightening when you feel like blood tests have said that everything's fine because you don't need medication or surgery, but you know that your cells aren't working well. And this can help give you the reasons why and the patterns that are underlying it to know exactly how to care for each of your fundamentals. So if you're curious about that, I would highly recommend looking into that further and asking yourself, is this the next right step for me? And then in further episodes, what we're going to get into is the energetic side. So medical, do I need medication or surgery? Yes, no, depends on what your results say. If it's no, then we go, okay, well, I need to support my fundamentals. And even if it's a yes, it's about going, okay, I'm going to do the medication and surgery that I need, but I also know I need to support what my cells actually are doing because chronic stuff just doesn't happen overnight. And then finally, after we've done our functional and looking after our fundamentals, we're looking at our energetics. And our energetics are the things that we can't see that create what we can see. So it's often our unconscious thoughts that we believe that create our truth. And when we have that, that can actually manifest out into physical symptoms. We know this because placebo effect. What happens when we believe something that actually just has sugar in it, like a sugar pill, is actually going to cure, say, a headache, or it's going to cure an immune thing? And it does. Like, people do research on this. This is the power of our mind and the power of those subconscious things. So we're going to touch on all of this and more in this podcast. You are going to find that there are solo episodes with me going through really simply common symptoms like thyroid, persistent iron issues, acne, bloating, and the like every Friday. And then we also have on Tuesdays alternating between expert episodes and relatable stories so that you don't feel so alone. And it's so amazing. The stories that I've heard from women from all over the world, it's just amazing to hear that, yes, sometimes we feel like we've been gaslit or we haven't found answers and it's come back to us. And it's just a testament to the power of the body and the power of getting still and listening to your body and doing the things that it's asking you. Not what other people are telling you, but it's taking that into consideration and using your inner discernment of your body to know what to do. So I am so excited that you are here along this journey with me. Let's make it fun. Let's make it super simple so that you can let your body lead the way and we can listen a little bit differently. Until next time, I'll see you later. If this episode resonated and you feel like you're stuck in the space between symptoms and solutions, you're not alone. I've been there too, and that's why I created all of this. From the book, if you're just starting to listen, or the test if you want clarity your bloods couldn't give you, or the body-led experience if you've tried doing it all and still feel flat. Well, sometimes you need something specific, like one of our symptom series, for a deep dive support on topics like fatigue and menopause. So wherever you start, just know your body's already guiding you. Share this with someone who needs it, and don't forget to follow and rate the show. Please remember, this episode is for educational purposes only. Always consult a qualified health practitioner before making any medical decisions. Every body is different, and so is every healing journey.